And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. For our audio listeners, if you've not heard yet on Inside Sports Fantasy Football, I have got a treat for you because on the latest Pop Culture Cosmos dropping on Monday morning for your Labor Day morning drive, or if you want to hold it over for Tuesday, that's just fine as well. It's our fantasy football primer with me and Chris Ardieri going over the finer points of what you need to know before your fantasy football draft. And you can check that out if you can't catch it already on the Inside Sports Fantasy Football or Pop Culture Cosmos YouTube outlets. You will hear it on the Pop Culture Cosmos on Monday morning or Tuesday morning on your drive after the Labor Day weekend, right there for you on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Also, as well, the Lakerholics group, give them a shout out. They came back on the air. I know that Jeremy said, yeah, I'd love Gerald to go ahead and mediate one of those Lakerholics shows. Well, don't tell anybody, Jeremy. But if you look in the archives, I have. On more than one occasion, when Jamie is out, I've had to step in, mediate Michael Heinrich, and of course, Laker Tom before. And I've also been a guest on a show that Jamie has moderated as far as the Lakerholics show. I believe on more than one occasion. So go ahead and check it out there for the Lakerholics crew. They had a lot to say. They spent actually an hour and a half, which is a long show for them. So go ahead and check out what they have to say on the latest Lakerholics show. Right there for you on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course, after you watch this show on YouTube as well on the Lakers Fast Break. Great to have them back, and also check them out at Lakerholics.com. Our good friends, Empire Jeff TV, and of course, the Joe Soro Experiment, both covering the Dodgers. They won today, I think, yesterday, and that's so great. But back and forth they go. The Dodgers, as they gear up for a September run, we'll see what happens, but go ahead and check out what, of course, Empire Jeff has to say, and also as well, the Joe Soro Experiment as well. Big shout out to our Australians, first off, Vari, and then, of course, the man, the myth, the legend himself, near Surfer's Paradise, Mark, aka Xbox. Those guys have been killing it as far as showing the European games. Whether it's Spain or whether it's Slovenia, go ahead and catch those games, hopefully, on the Playback channel, playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Hopefully, you've been watching that. But also, our good friends, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Yo, he's been putting up some fresh content for you at DBSH, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights on YouTube. Our good friend, Legend, I Got Next Sports Media. And also, as well, of course, Stone Hansen at report_court on Twitter. And of course, Alfred Esmond on Twitter. All these great people, all these great places, all these great things. Like and subscribe and follow and all that magical stuff. But please, 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 please do the same for us right here at the Lakers Fast Break as well. And got a little tidbit for you guys. I'm working hard on something behind the scenes. Been lining up a whole bunch of stuff for First Eyes only for our Lakers Fast Break members. They'll get first shot at what I've got planned in the upcoming future as far as some good stuff that they will get a chance to see first before anyone else does. And you can become a member today for just $2.99 a month right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Joe Cook got cooked on his own stream. What are the odds of that happening? Really high, in my opinion. But that's Joe. We love him as well, no matter how he is and who he is today. So yes, that's funny. I got to check that out. I only watched the first part of it, JSJ from yesterday's stream, so I got to go ahead and catch up on that and see when he got cooked. Div says, "Told you all, Luka Doncic is going to be the MVP and best player for next 10 years. Book it." Okay, Div, calm down. Yes, that's something I think a lot of us, as far as saying the same things as far as how great he is. but you're shouting from the rooftops. Okay, absolutely. By the all caps lock. You know somebody is happy and excited when they're putting everything in caps lock. But Div, I will not diminish your enthusiasm. He has looked fantastic. And unfortunately, Slovenia has not looked so fantastic, but he has looked like he's ready to win. But the question remains, does the Lakers look ready to win as well? This goes back to the arguments Joe and I had over the course of the summer, saying that he's saying that the Lakers had no assets to go ahead and trade to make this team substantially better. I mustn't say substantially better, but the Lakers could have taken more all-in steps, in my opinion, but they chose not to. They've got a good team. They've got a team that can win quite a few games, but is it a team that could be ready for a run like I think Luka looks ready for, because he is really ready to go. And Sports Baby, he was actually looking at it earlier today, the game out there, lucky win today. Gee, well, I think Slovenia at this point, Bari, will take any win that they can get. Gregory says, Gerald, have read about seismic leadership changes to Lakers once sale is finalized. It says it depends on how quickly Walter and Guggenheim's move. Report from Andrew Strauss. That's a better source, but you know what, Gregory, I've seen so much in my lifetime when it comes to Lakers. I have to see it. I think it will happen sooner than what was originally reported on, or as the 5-year timeline for the regime to be ousted and moved out. But will it be instantaneous? That's the right owner. Well, but I know you're looking for it, and I appreciate the people in looking for these people. Andrew Strauss is not good for at all. So, but he is here today. It is a good man indeed. It is, of course, our own Nepotism. Legend himself, with the opinions that's out there and in there and right there when it comes to the Joe Soro experiment. Although, again, JSJ says, I got to watch that rest of the episode. I only watched the beginning yesterday. I missed because I had other things I had to take care of, but I will watch the rest of that episode. Does Joe Soro get cooked on his own Joe Soro experiment? We'll have to wait and see. It is, of course, Joe Soro. Joe, good to have you here. You keep saying, okay, cool. It's better now. Your thoughts, though? Luka, over the weekend, had a really good weekend in the eyes of Lakers fans. First up with a 39-point performance, and he backs it up today with one of the few triple-doubles ever in EuroLeague play. Your thoughts on how ready Luka Doncic looks to you right now?
Yeah, he's ready. He's ready. It was the 5th triple-double since its existence. Okay. That's pretty good. 5 triple-doubles all-time in the Eurobasket League. Saw highlights only. I didn't get a chance to see the full game, but Luka was doing Luka things, and it's something that we're going to expect to see probably during the NBA season. The only thing is the Lakers are likely going to have to at least be a top 3 seed, and I don't even know if that's going to be enough for him to win the MVP because of what's going on. Now, I did hear a rumor. I don't know if this was internet BS, but I'm hearing a rumor that Adam Silver is going to be playing games on the West Coast at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Is that true?
Quite possibly.
It doesn't sound like it makes sense. I can't find it anywhere. It must be stupid. It's got to be a lie. 7:30 on the West Coast is already too late for the East Coast. That's a 10:30 start time in the East Coast. No one's going to stay.
You're placating to the West Coast. That's all you're doing. It's just you're by doing that you're just canceling out the East Coast altogether, Joe.
Okay, if that's the case, then I want an even distribution of how these guys are going to vote for awards. I think what they need to do is they need to separate the vote and make it make sense, because most of these decisions are being made by everyone in Ohio and in the Northeast, 2 areas that hate LA. and the West Coast.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's something that needs to be addressed.
Well, I know that they're staggering out those 7 o'clock games, 7, 7:15, 7:30. I think they're spacing those games out with different start times, whether it's to accommodate the new different entities televising these games, or if it's just for League Pass owners or what have you. But I do know that it's more obvious them staggering out these evening games, Joe.
Well, the 7:30 games, I feel, are a little too late even now. I would prefer a 6:30 game. Then you'd have a better viewership on the East Coast at that point. You'll have a shot, especially if the game is only 2 hours and 20 minutes. You could justify staying up until 11:30 or so. But 10:30 start time. I was in New York one time watching a Laker Warrior game, and at halftime, the ESPN restaurant that I was watching the game at closed at midnight. And I remember telling the bartender, I said, I thought this was New York. You're going to close at midnight halfway through the game. And at that time, this wasn't NBA League Pass friendly, internet on the phone, internet on the app culture at that point. This was in the early 2000s or late 2000s. Sorry.
Yeah, I hear you. And he also became one of the youngest players ever to reach 400 Euro basket points, the youngest since Tony Parker some 18 years ago. Today, again, a triple-double, one of, like Joe said, only 5 ever to be at that level of basketball, Euro basketball. So great accomplishment for him. It was 26 points, 11 assists, and 10 rebounds. Yet he followed that up after yesterday's 39-point performance. So basically, he is showing you all the tools in the basket, all the tools in the shed. He is showing you his diversity. You want him to score more? He's doing that. You wanted him to be able to diversify his offense? He's doing that. Most importantly, Joe, and I don't think this has gone very noticed or reported, I said it the other day, and I'm going to say it again. The best thing I'm coming out of this, Joe, is he's getting to the line and he's hitting his damn free throws. And he's hitting them at a really high rate.
That's going to be very, very important because he can be more aggressive if there's an 80 to 85% free throw percentage in his game. No one with that kind of shooting ability and that amount of ball control in a game, you cannot afford to be under 80% from the free throw line because you put the opponent in a position where you're going to get cooked either way. Either going to foul him and he's going to make 2 shots regularly, or you're going to have to deal with the fact that he's going to make the shot on you anyways. And ones especially. And ones, there's nothing worse, in my view, than a ball controlling player who can't hit the and one. It's a wasted point because the momentum goes right back to the team that fouled you on the and one. So if you're looking at the little details of how a game tells itself what it is, those are the little things. Those are the very, very minute things that build over a 48-minute game. So if you have Luka Doncic, who is 30, 35 pounds less, has something to prove, in his prime, just got an extension, already playing really well right now in the summer. He's going to be in NBA shape before he gets into training camp. You have the perfect recipe for Luka Doncic to be the MVP this year. And a lot of that's going to come down to his aggressiveness and his ability to make that team pay for that aggressiveness. Because if he doesn't make those free throws, they're going to be aggressive. And they're like, well, if he makes a shot, we know he's probably going to miss the free throw. Or if he doesn't make the and one, he's going to miss 1 of 2. That can't happen. Yes, 77% may sound like it's good, but it's not. 84% sounds good. Kobe used to shoot 82 to 84%, and it made a huge difference.
Jeremy is asking a question. He said, would you say Luka's shooting is similar to LeBron's? I say no, because LeBron... Yes and no, actually, because LeBron's shooting, if you take a look at his recent career, Joe, he's had years where it's really been on the button, above 40% on high volume. It's really looks smooth, and it's really looks like something that you're thinking is going to be a game changer. And then the next year, he reverts back to a 34, 35, 36% guy, an average three-point shooter, also on high volume. It just seems to toggle back and forth. But LeBron has reached heights, Jeremy, that Luka hasn't yet from a three-point standpoint. They're both high-volume three-point shooters, but again, just the efficiency standpoint, at least LeBron has had a couple seasons in recent times, and I believe 1 or 2 seasons in Miami where it was really efficient. And if he can shoot like that, LeBron can still shoot like that from a long range, along with Rui at 42%. And if Luka, even though he hasn't shown it, that's the only flaw I have seen as far as his game so far. I mean, the defense is what it is, but his shooting long range has been suspect in the footage I've seen. Still, if he could ever get that in shape to the point where it's even 37% on the volume that he shoots, like you said, Joe, it's the difference between a 75% free throw shooter like LeBron has been throughout the majority of his career, and where you would be and where he would be if he and Luka were 85% shooters.
They're not the same shooter, although their percentages are identical from the 2-point areas. They both have a career shooting percentage of 55%, but they're different shooters. Luka can shoot in the moment. LeBron shoots in spots, if that makes any sense. He'll have a spot that he sometimes will know already he's going to take a shot at, and he'll shoot it. Where Luka can shoot over a little bit of resistance and has a little bit more accuracy in his shot. LeBron's threat, though, is the fact that, and the reason why he may get some space, there's 2 reasons why, obviously. One, he's a big guy and he can get up in the air high enough to get the space, but there's always the threat that he can get to the basket. And that always has to keep the defense on its heels a little bit. And that usually will give him enough room to hit the shot with some separation and then make it more viable in an offense. Luka is twirling, running around, pitching back and forth. And then if things don't develop the way he wants, he can step back, do a little Dirk 1-foot jump from the 3-point line and swish it. That's his game. Luka, as far as the free throw line, if you look at his percentage, again, it's not good for a guy that shoots that well and has good shooting form. He's only shooting 75% for his career. LeBron is shooting a little under that. And LeBron has I guess, some room for that. He's kind of a big guy in the sense of wideness. His shot isn't as free flowing as let's say Luka's. Luka's around the same height, I think maybe an inch smaller, but he's a little more lankier and has his form is a little more smooth. Plus, he's a true point guard. Now, LeBron has played point guard, but he's more of a point forward. Point forwards, something that you could say Scottie Pippen sort of started in the 90s. They're not guards really, but they're just, I guess they're bigger guards. I don't know how else to put it. But Luka needs to drastically make a difference in that one area. And then as far as LeBron's concerned, LeBron can just keep doing what he's doing. I don't see him improving his free throw percentages this year.
But if he gets back to 41%, Joe, like he did 2 seasons ago, that would be really, really.
But he did. But again, to LeBron's credit, he had his best free throw percentage last year. That was his best of his career, 78.2. I think the highest.
But he went down from 41% to 38% on threes, which was substantially better than the previous year. As far as 3 seasons ago, which was only 32%. And that was on a higher volume than the past 2 seasons.
Higher volume and went down 3%, 4%, almost 4 percentage points.
In 22-23, he shot 7 a game at 32%. The next year, he shot only 5 a game at 41%. This last year, he shot almost 6 a game at 30, let's call it 38%.
I don't know. I don't know necessarily if LeBron needs to improve anywhere other than trying to make the same impact without playing as many minutes. That's the only thing I'm going to be concerned.
Well, I think it starts with a 3 if that's the case. If you do want him to make the same impact with playing less minutes, he has to be efficient at the 3 to start off with, and keep, like you said, improving on the free throw line.
He played just a hair under 35 minutes a game last year, which was actually less than I thought he was. I thought he was more closer to 36, but he was 34.9 minutes a game. That number needs to go down to probably 31. It needs to take another 3 minutes off each game. And if he can maintain a 24, 23, even a 22 and 6 run and just keep his free throw percentage the way he was last year, then I think there's a benefit there. Luka's going to be able to pick up a lot of the slack here. He's in shape. He's going to be in NBA shape even going into the training camp. He's going to, like, barring a bad injury, he's going to be a guy that's going to make a huge jump for the Lakers. So you have to look at Luka as a guy that's going to improve what they were last year just by him being in shape and having a little bit of Laker time under his belt, having a training camp, having a preseason, already playing basketball right now before the season starts. So he's going to have all those advantages in going into the season playing very, very well. And a little bit of that can take away from LeBron, which would then preserve him for the end of the season when they really, really will need him.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching and listening. Truly appreciate it. Yeah, in the chat, we were talking about Trae Young, how he is still that guy looks like he should be almost like a Steph Curry light as far as his accuracy on his shooting, but and he takes those logo threes, but when you look at the black and white of his stats, it just doesn't even come close to materializing the way it should be. And if he was efficient, or if he became efficient at all, I think that changes the entire dynamic for Atlanta. But I will say for the Lakers, again, Luka really looks good. This is the big impression I think a lot of people were hoping to get as far as Lakers fans over the past 3 games. I believe they have another game in Group D on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, which, again, right now looks like Slovenia is still on its way, heading out in the not-too-distant future. But Luka, though, has impressed, and it looks like once we get him in here into the fold, Joe, into training camp, working on an offensive scheme that's going to be centered around him, he could be having himself an MVP level season coming up.
There's no doubt he's going to be an MVP candidate. There's zero doubt. Whether he wins it or not is going to be predicated on, will the Lakers be able to get a 1 or 2 seed? I don't think a 3 seed would be enough based off the history of Laker MVPs. Every MVP that I've seen won since the 80s, because I think Kareem might have been the last MVP in the 70s that won an MVP on a losing team. So since the 80s, so the last 45 years, every MVP, Laker MVP, has been a 1 seed to win an MVP in their conference. So Magic won the MVP in 1987, 1989, and 1990. And they were 1 seeds in all 3 of those seasons. And then you fast forward to Shaq in 2000, they were a 1 seed. Fast forward to Kobe Bryant in 2008, they were the 1 seed. So for some weird reason, that seems to be the criteria for Lakers players to win MVPs. And there's been, in my view, there's been 2, 3, 4, 5 MVPs that aren't in Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant's trophy case because of criteria that seems to scale back and forth, much like the people the other night trying to talk shit. They were on a scale to the bottom of the ocean.
Okay.
That's
not what JSJ says.
Yankee fans projecting about choking and not coming through. Let me repeat that again. Yankee fan saying that another team was choking and not coming through. and it was obvious that it was. I don't even know if I could consider that a troll. I think it was just someone who has just really nothing in their life trying to cook.
Okay.
But all they were cooking with was stale macaroni and cheese, and it's unfortunate that Jay was eating that and some outdated kielbasa. Because that's the only thing that makes sense for someone to actually come on here and say that I got cooked. I got cooked by a Yankee fan telling my team that they're chokers. I mean, did you all have? Do you have amnesia? Did you guys forget what happened in October last year? Yeah.
I think Jay was just trying. I think Jay was just trying to cook you as well. So, there you go.
Nah, you can't.
Nothing but love, though.
Can't cook the chef, guys. You can't cook the chef. Sorry, I cook you. You don't cook me. No one cooks me.
I'm going to stay silent on that. But once again, it is the Lakers fast break. So Luka looks fantastic. He looks really good. He looks prime for a good run with the Lakers, an MVP level run. He is one of the listed favorites here in Vegas. I would probably think he's right around third option right now, third place as far as in MVP betting right now. So from what I last remember, I think he was fourth at one time I saw him, but I believe he's moved up because of his obvious stellar play for Slovenia. So with that, Joe, my question and for the show is, okay, Luka looks ready to win. Looks ready to win now. But in a tough Western Conference, he can only carry so much on the team, on his back. Only so much of the team on his back. And so I ask you, is this going to be a team that is ready to win with him? Because he looks like he can carry this team to 50 wins by himself. Not by himself per se, literally, but you get the idea. An MVP-like season can carry him to 50 wins for this team.
It really will depend on how this offense presents itself. If it's going to go by the history of what LeBron and Luka's best assets are, that is, draw the defense in, find the open man, make the team pay. The problem with that is you only have one basketball, so you can't have LeBron and Luka do the same thing. And the other thing is, who's going to be your shooters? There's really no shooters. We were hoping that Dalton Connect could be one of those guys.
You're still not sold on Rui?
Rui is not a sniper. Rui is a timely three-point shooter. He only shoots 3 a game. Not even, I think it's 2.9. Well, he's not a shooter. And for today's NBA, you have to make the offense pay. I'm sorry, the defense pay for collapsing. And they're not.
Last year he averaged 4 a game, but you're right.
Was it really?
Only 4. Yeah, it was 4.2.
Okay.
Yeah,
4 is good.
4
is good. He made.
I like to see him get to 6,
but he's not a. He's. It doesn't look like he's going to. I don't know if he has the stamina to do that. I don't know if I don't know if anybody's really going to take him seriously back there waiting around. I don't know. I don't know. Does he improve his game from last year? That's the question we're going to ask. We're going to have to ask, is Reeves going to improve in certain areas as well? I don't know. Everyone has to improve except LeBron. LeBron needs to just kind of stay the same if possible. Everyone else needs to go up a notch. If that happens, then there's a chance. They all have a reason to, because they have big money waiting for them next summer. Whether they do it or not, we don't know. But Luka will be better. We know that. Barring injury, Luka will be better by far than he was last year. And he was still pretty damn good last year in a Laker uniform. So imagine that.
Again, I think he can have a season where he gets close to that 31-9-9 mark he reached with Dallas in his near MVP-like season. And if that's the case, again, he could carry this team a long way. But it also takes talent around him to help him get to where I would like to see an MVP-level season deservedly go, which is a long way in the NBA playoffs. And, you know, the NBA playoffs are about matchups. They're about, timeliness. Can you stay healthy? Do you have the depth to get you there? And these are all questions that Rob Pelinka hasn't been able to fully answer for this team coming into training camp in about, less than a month from now.
And can J.J. Redick conspire and devise a plan to make this work? Can he make LaRavia a better player? Can he take advantage of the last maybe year or so of Marcus Smart's ability to do maybe a little bit of what he's been doing in his career? They're going to need Marcus Smart. They're going to need him in spurts when they need somebody to play some defense in the backcourt, because Luka's not that guy and Reeves is not that guy and LeBron is not that guy. I don't think LaRavia is that guy either, and definitely Connect isn't that guy. That's the only perimeter defender they really have. That's it. I'd say guard defender, and that's
going to be a concern.
It's going to be a big concern, especially if he doesn't come through in that department. If he comes through in that department, now you can sick. And I always said that Marcus Smart, and I mean this in the most respectful way, he's a Rottweiler. He looks like a Rottweiler that's ready to rip your face off. That's what I really liked about his demeanor and the way he played. He's not going to be 2021 Defensive Player of the Year, likely, but I would love at least three quarters of that. Three quarters of that for 60 to 65 games during the year is going to be a huge help for the Lakers.
But let me ask you this again. This goes back to the show I did last week, and I know that something touched on that Laker Tom was writing about at Lakerholics.com in regards to the fact he thinks that Marcus Smart should start day one. And I'm like, the guy's only played 54 games in 2 seasons. We don't know, even at 31, we don't know how much is left in the tank, because like you said, you called him a Rottweiler. It's very, very much true. The height of his Boston Celtics years, he was a Rottweiler. He gave you so much energy, gave you so much effort on the defensive end, was rewarded with a Defensive Player of the Year. But, and this is a big but, he has seen a downfall his last year in Boston, and then the 2 seasons after that, it's been a mess as far as for him health-wise. Have we seen the best of Marcus Smart, and will we see anything close to that ever again?
Small correction, 2021-2022 Defensive Player of the Year. The
next season, though, he played for Boston. It started to go downhill. They traded him, and then 2 seasons.
Yeah, they traded him because he couldn't make a shot when it mattered in the playoffs. That was a huge issue with them being able to finish some of those games. What's good about this team is they probably wouldn't need him to be that guy either. They just need enough during the regular season and spots in the playoffs for him to do that. They don't need him to be the sniper or the shooter from the 3-point line, although it would be nice if he could make those shots.
But even as a defender, we don't even know what level he can still defend.
Yeah, we're going on hopes right now because we haven't seen him really play a lot the last couple seasons. And as far as him starting, ideally, if he's effective, that's the best lineup. Putting Luka and Smart in the backcourt because now you have somebody that can play defense against the best two guards in the league. Two guards are abundant in the NBA. Even the ones that are not all-stars, they're everywhere. So that would be ideal. But this is
I wouldn't start the season with that because you got to see him healthy, and you
well, that's
also
what I'm
have
saying.
to
That's
go
what
ahead and
training camp is for. That's what preseason's for. So my thing is, if you're starting him at the beginning of the year, that means he did something in training camp and he did something in preseason to say we have to put this guy in there because your starters are going to play starters, and we need this guy to play the way he just played against starters. Are you going to use Marcus Smart on the second and third teams for teams? Is that really going to benefit you in the long run? That's why we've been preaching about Austin coming off the bench, because Austin's going to be able to take advantage of the guys that are coming off the bench as well. He'll be more effective that way. And maybe he'll have a little bit more juice towards the end of the year because of it. We don't know because he starts. And I don't know how you have three guys that are ball handling types in the same starting lineup. This is why I've been a little bit more aggressive. It's not all of it. A lot of it is for the obvious reason. But a lot of this is an issue for me looking at an NBA coach and having him tell everyone, oh, we think our best lineup is a lineup with LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves in the starting lineup. You tell me, does that sound right? Does that sound like you're using?
I cannot trust Marcus Smart to be healthy.
I'm not saying you have to trust him, but
I mean, we can revisit this conversation 20-25 games in if he's still out there on the floor 20-25 minutes. But I have got to see it first, and not just in training camp and exhibition games. I got to see him out there healthy, Joe.
Yeah, that's fine. But we're talking about we're talking about ifs right now. If he's capable, is JJ Redick got enough balls to do that, make that move, or is he worried about messing up the apple cart? And the reason why I'm being aggressive on this is because I am anticipating what I think is going to happen. And I'm telling you right now, if what happens, this team is going to be in trouble. It's not going to, it can't last that long because the lineup will get destroyed. But the fact that it's even being tried, I think or even being discussed is a travesty. If I start seeing LeBron Jr. in the backcourt with Luka Doncic, this team is going to go down, and I mean down hard. And it's just going to be a matter of when they're going to stop that stupid experiment.
Oh, I've got a question for you.
My worry. That's where when you hear a coach who didn't have a really good end of the year talk about a player that doesn't even belong in the league being a part of a rotation that's already hurting, that is a bad sign right there. And that's the only part. That's really the only thing I'm really worried about with this season.
So let me ask you this, Joe. The Lakers had one of the worst benches in the league last year, and it got to the point, like you said, JJ couldn't even trust his bench. He had to play his starting unit for an entire second half, as we noted during the course of the playoffs. Rob, he made a couple of moves that helped a little bit, but why didn't he help out the bench more? Why didn't he craft a new bench? Why didn't he go further into making this team deeper, as we've seen with OKC, Houston, and other teams that kind of thrived in the Western Conference last year? Depth really helps a lot, especially regular season, but also we saw in the playoffs as well.
How are they going to accumulate those talents?
Well, they had
Oklahoma City gets Caruso because they had a Josh Giddey to throw at Chicago to get him. What do the Lakers have that they can throw out there and get a better player or a more fitting player?
Well, again, Austin Reeves with an expiring contract, I think to some might have been attractive again earlier in the summer period.
Okay, and who are they going to get for Austin Reeves?
Well, you could have gotten pieces for that. Again, we discussed this over the course of weeks.
Pieces from
I
where?
made Vari and I talked about New York. Vari and I talked about
You guys are
Indiana.
living in fantasy
Talked
land
about
with these
Orlando.
pieces. I want
You
to know
talked
what
about
pieces.
Orlando as far
Yeah.
as some pieces as well. That's some
Yeah.
very viable trades you did.
So why didn't it happen?
Because you and I both know why. Because Rob is very secure in his job as he sees it, and sees a timeline in 2026 and 27 to make sure there's plenty of cap space available for those, at least one, if not both, those summers.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have six or seven expiring contracts right now on this roster.
Mm-hmm. And that's plays a lot of it's a lot of the reasons why they're not going to make a trade that is going to relinquish draft capital. This next year is finally going to kind of get rid of this. We don't have a draft pick when it matters scenario. This next year, they're finally going to be there, and they're going to be in a good position to determine and decide what they want this summer without having to worry about signing guys so that they don't lose that money. This is not. They're going to compete this year, but they're not going to cry if they don't win a championship this year, because there's just too much money allocated to players that are taking up too much room for them to really improve and get beyond the LeBron era of basketball in LA.
Well, it just seems like not you, but it seems like that would be in essence throwing in the towel. And to many Lakers fans, like for instance, Div X-Ray, who was shouting from the rooftops earlier this show about the Lakers winning a title this year, that comes with some pretty harsh news for those that are already relegating that this year is going to be a great year for Luka, but not such a great year for the Lakers.
Well, the NBA has changed. The Indiana Pacers, with no superstar, were probably one Halliburton injury away from winning a championship. And Oklahoma City is a champion, even though they played 2 Game 7s in that path. They very easily could have lost way before they even hit the finals, being the best, quote unquote, best team in the NBA record wise. So they're probably looking at it from, if we get lucky, if we hit our stride the right way, blah, 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 there's still a chance where we can win. Whereas maybe 10 years ago, there'd be no chance because things were a little bit more predictable back then. The NBA, the Adam Silver right now is going to be the commissioner of parity for the NBA. He finally got his wish, finally got the wish of, I think, what David Stern wanted towards the end of his career. This parity, because every collective bargaining agreement from 1998 to 2005 to 2011 was predicated on evening the playing field for the have-nots. And it's finally come. It's finally here. Did the basketball fan, did the free world get what they wanted in Oklahoma City and Indiana in the finals? Is that really what you want? Because David Stern may have preached Lakers versus Lakers in the finals, but his collective bargaining said otherwise. You know what? You know, when someone asks me what's the difference between the Bulls run versus the Lakers run in 2000, I go, I'll tell you what the difference was. The difference was David Stern catered to the Bulls. The difference in 2000 with the Lakers were playing against David Stern. David Stern made it very difficult for them to really spread their wings, because whether it was a rule change, whether it was the way salaries needed to be structured, everything was geared to stop the Lakers from winning. Why? Because you started to get more of these Mark Cubans and Dan Gilbert ownerships where they were a bunch of whining little bitches. Now, I'm not saying there weren't owners in the 70s and 80s that were whining, but I never heard them whine about teams winning like that. And especially when it came from somebody like a Dan Gilbert and a Mark Cuban. These assholes have won 10 times over in their life. They're all billionaires. And they got played by Mitch Kupchak, and they were pissed off. And then you had the idiots like Popovich make his snide remarks every now and then, but I don't consider Popovich in that group in terms of whininess. He's a coach. He's not a billionaire. He didn't open up Quicken Arena or whatever the hell it is that they do over there, or Mark Cuban with his broadcast.com business. It's a different, coach whining versus a conglomerate whining, getting played by a team that's run from a mom and pop shop. That right there always cracks me up. That the fact that David Stern catered to those pieces of shit more than he catered to the team that actually made his league a little bit more popular after Michael Jordan retired. That's not is not the right word. It kept them popular.
Okay.
So is that what you want? It's important to talk about because that all played a part in what we saw this year. And it's playing a part on what's going to be going on this year. Competing for a championship right now in the NBA, and it's been like this for a few years. If you get lucky with injuries, you could win. The Boston Celtics won a championship last year playing 0 number one options in the East. Every single team they played in the East had their number one guy injured, including Halliburton in that Eastern Conference Finals. And then they went to the finals, played a pretty much dead-in-the-water Dallas Mavericks team. They were spent playing that whole Western Conference run. They were dead in the water by the time they got to the finals. They were dead tired. You could see it. You could see it in Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving was just a shell of himself.
Well, I can't say I disagree with you. I mean, of course, that's what the CBA was intended to do, to create parity. And the previous CBA has essentially done that with, 7 years now going? We've had a different champion for the past 7 years. That is ultimately the parity that I think that was expected or trying to be achieved with the last collective bargaining agreement. But as we've seen with the numbers, that doesn't always translate to the extended popularity of the sport itself. Oklahoma and Indiana, for a great part of the country, and for that matter, basketball viewing world, was not a must-see NBA Finals.
No, because the face of the NBA is still LeBron James. And LeBron James, when you talk about faces of any league, let's look at the face of the leagues the last 50 years. Let's take a couple of sports. Let's say NFL and the NBA. Let's say NBA. Let's stick to the NBA. Who's the face of the NBA in the 70s? Kareem and Dr. J.
Yeah.
Right? So Kareem won a championship in 1971. Was winning MVPs all through the 70s pretty much. Took the Lakers to the Western Conference Finals in 1977. Dr. J went to the finals in 1977. 70s are a little bit muddled because of the fact that you had the ABA merged and Dr. J was there, and then Kareem traded from Milwaukee to LA, and then the way TV was set up in the 70s, it was kind of all just not good, right? But I'll start there just so you kind of know the difference between what was going on then and what eventually happened later. Then you fast forward to the 80s, and what do you have? You have Magic, Bird, Jordan. Well, Magic, Bird, and Jordan pretty much spent the entire 80s, one or the other, in the finals. Faces of the NBA were always on prime time. Then you go to the 90s. Michael Jordan, he was in the finals practically every year. You go to the 2000s. Who was in the finals practically every year? The Duncans, the Kobes, and the Shaqs. And then LeBron in the 10s, Durant, Steph. What you have now is you have Jason Tatum. You have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You have Jokic. All amazing players, Hall of Fame players. Again, MVPs. But I can go outside right now and go talk to my neighbors and say, you guys know who Jokic is? Do you know who SGA is? I'm not even going to say Shai Gilgeous. Do you know who SGA is? I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Do you know who Jason Tatum is? I don't know what you're talking about. I guarantee you 90% of my neighbors won't know who the hell those guys are. If I say Kobe, they know. If I say Shaq, they know. If I say Tim Duncan, they know. Jordan. So who's the face of the NBA? That's the one problem with this parity thing in the NBA is it going to matter, though? Is the TV contracts already signed, sealed, and delivered? Or is it enough to just bring Michael Jordan to NBC and have him promote the game? Is that finally what they had to go to get this thing going? Certainly makes sense, doesn't it? And the fact that you're going to have – there's discussion that there's going to be 2 more expansion teams, which is going to water down the league even more, especially with this horrible CBA. I don't know. I guess only us purists, because we're doing a podcast, are going to be watching this thing. And maybe that's enough for them.
What, is it so horrible, though? I think see it from the Lakers' perspective. Absolutely. It's not beneficial because it's not the way it once was, where the Lakers were and the Celtics and few teams thrived. But for other fans around the league, they may be seeing it a different way as far as the CBA is concerned. If it has created, at least the previous one has created, so many different opportunities for teams in other markets to make it to the finals.
The NBA was built on star power. And this was not just Kareem. This was not just Dr. J, Magic, Bird. That it became more TV friendly in the 80s when they were doing tape delays before that. This started way before. The first superstar of the NBA was George Mikan. And then as soon as George Mikan retired, you had Elgin Baylor, you had Jerry West, Bob Pettit, and then, of course, here comes Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain. It's always been stars. It's what built this thing. And now this is probably the first time in maybe, in terms of parity, it's the first time since the 70s where there isn't really any strong dynasty riding type team. But on top of that, they don't have a face that I see taking the mantle from LeBron James and a little bit of Steph Curry. It's really LeBron and then it's Steph Curry, the faces of the NBA. Victor is not there yet. He might be. I don't know. Phenomenally talented, but I don't know if he's that guy. I don't know if he's a face of something, no matter how good he is. I mean, he'd have to be really, really – he'd have to start – having 6-7 blocks a game, I think, for the noise to get loud enough. I don't know. I guess we still have to wait for that.
Jay West says, who's a worse commissioner, Roger Goodell or Adam Silver? It depends how you look at it. From a fan's perspective, both in recent years have not endeared, at least us Lakers fans and NFL fans, as far as it's concerned. Both those guys aren't really high on the popularity list. But if you're looking at it from an NBA owner sense, how much money has been generated by those two individuals, by deals or by agreements that have been made under their tenures. So it depends how you look at it. From a fan's perspective, I'd probably say Roger Goodell of the two, JY. But again, he's made new streams of revenue, or he's helped facilitate new streams of revenue for his league, and same as Adam. With the advent of streaming and other revenue sources, also trying to expand the games more around the world on a global basis. So I don't know. Their success may also, while you have to tie it in as far as from a fan's perspective and a fan's viewpoint, you also have to put it as far as what they've achieved financially for the leagues as well. I mean, with the Lakers being sold for between $10 to $12 billion, is just a representative of just how valuable that league, the NBA, and how the NFL could be similarly as valuable as well.
The money doesn't match the mouth.
I didn't think you would like that. Okay.
Yeah, the money doesn't match the mouth. If the NBA was in such a bad spot, how did they get $70 billion from these TV deals? And Goodell keeps making his owners more and more money. But the disdain with Goodell is the two-faced asshole that he is. I hate two-faced people, and that's what he is. And he gets rewarded.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with you in any sense.
He gets rewarded for being a two-faced fuck.
Well.
And I hate two-faced people. I'd rather you just be a complete dick. See, that's the one thing that I probably realized that I maybe overstated the David Stern thing. See, David didn't hide who he was. David Stern never hid who he was. We knew who he was. So it made in watching somebody that's a two-faced piece of shit like Roger Goodell, it made you appreciate David Stern. And that happens all the time. That happens all the time in so many other things. Governor Jerry Brown was the worst governor when he was governor of California the second time. And then here comes Gavin Newsom, and he made Jerry Brown feel like Ronald Reagan now. So a lot of times we think the green is much greener, but then we end up finding out that it's only green because it's fake. By the way, I have a little sign in my office that says something like that. So I thought it was kind of good to put it in there, being that I'm in the business that I'm in, right? The grass is always green because it's fake. It doesn't matter because we still watch. See, we can sit here and complain and whine all we want. Problem is we keep feeding the geese, the beast. So they don't give a shit if we call them the worst words on the planet. You're still watching. You're still talking about it. You're still spending all this time doing it. So we're the morons in the end. It's not Roger Goodell. It's not Adam Silver. We're the idiots. If we were not watching this stuff and we were talking about it every now and then here and there in conversation, then we'd have a little bit more credibility. But we don't have any credibility. We could sit here and say that Adam Silver is the worst human being on the planet, but we're still eating everything he's feeding us. It's almost like getting, it's those guys that live with their parents still in their 30s and complain about their parents. You complain about your parents, you're living at home? See how stupid that sounds? That's us. Complaining about the house that you're staying at, the house that you're spending 3 hours watching the game and then 2 hours talking about, you're complaining about that, yet you're still living there. We don't have any credibility in this discussion in the end, whether it's Roger Goodell, whether it's Adam Silver, David Stern, doesn't matter. So it is what it is.
So, again, I'll touch on this one last time because for now, Luka, again, having a great time in Europe, at least as far as statistically, or at least as far as himself, his team, 1 and 2. I believe, again, they play in a Group D game on Tuesday. Whether or not Mark or Vari will televise that's up to them. But go ahead and check it out. Playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. If you are, I guess, a follower, you'll get notified that we are going on the air with it. So again, all props to Mark and Vari for.
Yeah, Vari likes to broadcast the games and leave his car door open half the time.
So I heard. But give them credit, Joe. I mean, both of them have had early mornings as far as showing off those games. So yes, indeed.
Yeah, I know. I had a comment about that on our group chat, and no excuses in this business. Sorry.
No worries indeed. But yeah, appreciate Sports Baby, and also, of course, Mark. He's been the one that's doing much of that as of late, so he gets a ton of credit because Sports Baby's been focusing on Joe's channel, the Joe Sorrell experiment, going ahead and taking care of that as far as showing the Dodgers games there. But My friend, I will ask this one last time. This team, it would hurt me to see him play at an MVP level, play 70 to 75 games per se, to play at a level where he should be considered for the MVP, but the team, because it doesn't have enough to support him. Let's say the Lakers get 47 wins, 48 wins. Let's say it's a 5th or 6th seed or even a 4th seed. It's just not enough. And I just would be sad. I would be kind of sad because if you have a player that's having that great a season and you don't build a team around him to support him, that's good enough. Seems like almost you're throwing away the towel. You're throwing a towel in and you're wasting a year of prime Luka.
There's no choice. It's the way the team was structured.
Whose fault is that?
You can't build a team around Luka with a $52 million asset liability on the team. At least for right now.
What if he's averaging 24-7-7 himself?
I think the numbers in the NBA don't mean anything anymore.
Okay.
It's the effect of play.
What if he's playing it still at an all-star level?
So I don't want to hear about he's averaging 25, 9 and 9 or 25. It doesn't matter. What did Jokic come out of in this season? Almost having a 30-point triple-double season. What did it produce? It produced a second-round exit. If any player in the 90s, 2000s, 80s, 70s, if somebody out there was doing that, I think the only guy that ever did it was Oscar Robertson. But he was in Cincinnati at the time, and he was the only one. He was the only one. And guards back then were getting 15 rebounds. The game was different too. But this statistics in the NBA are irrelevant more than ever before. And it's something we keep hearing about with LeBron James. Okay, that's nice that he's gotten X amount of points in his 55th season. Okay, that's nice. Yeah, but what's that going to do for the Lakers? While you guys are nutting and jizzing over LeBron's 44th game of the regular season, 25, 19, and 11 game, I'm sitting back going, okay, cool. What is that going to mean when it matters? Number game is over in the NBA. When anyone can get a triple-double, it's not special anymore. When anyone can get 30 points a game, it's not special anymore. And it's interesting that I watched James Harden in his prime play exactly the same way that Luka Doncic plays in terms of all offense, no defense. Yet I never really heard a lot of, well, you can't be MVP because he doesn't play defense, but Luka has to hear it. It's interesting. It's just selective hearing and selective criticizing is an interesting thing in the world. I always chuckle at it. This is about winning, and that's all I give a damn about. And you also have to be realistic in analyzing what's going on. You're asking a team that has two players on it that's likely going to play a lot of minutes that were discarded. Even if they have the talent, even if they have maybe one something in them. I'm not saying that that's not possible. Ayton could flourish. Marcus Smart might be healthy and can play again, but in a limited amount of really, really good, great NBA players, when guys that young are being let go, it's usually not a good sign. And it's also not a good sign when you're spending 1/3 of your salary cap on a player as great as he's been in his career, as serviceable as he's been the last few years. How is that going to translate to winning a championship, especially when that player has been known, again, as great as he's been, has been known to screw up more than he's been successful? There's a difference. And the explanation in that player and why certain things are not good and why there can't be a comparison to something else comes down to that. What is your thoughts of LeBron James? The first thing people think about with LeBron James is his failures. They don't do that with Kobe. They don't do that with MJ. They don't do that with those guys. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that players used to play peak basketball. Obviously, at the beginning, they come up, but then once they hit their peak, once they see that hill's starting to go down, they retire. And the Lakers haven't had the chance to, because of financial things or whatever, or hopes, they haven't really had a chance to say, you know what, we may need to go another direction, because they could have done that last year. They didn't have to sign LeBron to a 1+1. They could have just said, hey, LeBron, play out 2025, and then let's see what we can do after that. No, they gave him a 1+1. You're asking about what are the chances of them winning this year? Well, they could have done themselves a favor and just signed a 1-year contract with him last year. And then this summer, they could have decided, hey, we got Luka Doncic now. Maybe we might want to entertain something where we can go get somebody else. You don't think that Giannis at that point might have been looking in LA if he knew there was a slot ready for him? So in criticizing Rob Pelinka, there's some merit there, obviously. That would have worked. But would Jeannie have let Rob do that, even if Rob thought about it? Probably not. Which then also makes me realize, well, if I'm the general manager, if you hired me to run your operation, and yet you're telling me I can't do something that may improve the team, then I'm not going to work there, because now it's my reputation. But Pelinka has shown, sorry, Empire Jeff, sorry, anybody who likes Rob Pelinka, has shown that he's an accommodator. He's an agent. Agents are supposed to cater to the talent. Real player personnel people cater to the operation. So that says a lot about the personalities of the two jobs. But because Jeannie's so obsessed with closeness, hiring cousins and hiring second cousins and hiring the cousins' wives so that she can feel comfortable, to me, this is where a lot of the nonsense comes from. And they've won. They've won a little bit. Not really, but they've won at least. You know, they've sprained their ankle and still won a championship in this little run that they had. But the beautiful thing is, this run is going to end soon. The Jeannie Buss, Jim Buss, Rob Pelinka era is going to be coming to an end, and you're going to have real adults running this thing. And we as Laker fans are going to benefit from having some of the best people running it. And I have no feeling in the process of what's going on right now with current management. I'll support it because I'm a Laker fan. I'll support it and hope that they can make a run here. But at the end, to me, getting Luka, which they did a good job there, and Mark Walter buying this team set me in a path where I'm like, okay, we're going to have to ride this until showtime comes. Pardon the pun.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro. Go ahead and check him out today at the Joe Soro Experiment on playback and on YouTube. Also, as well, don't forget he has a game that you go ahead, as far as down below in the description, you can go ahead and give it a try as far as out there on Steam. And then also as well, don't forget Cinblades with the Y.com. Before we head on out, put it up, G, and see who's willing to watch. Again, you guys run the channel in my absence. If you guys want to go ahead at 1 a.m. in the morning for the next game for Luka and show that off, that's entirely up to you guys. I'm not going to be there at 1 a.m. to watch it. I will catch the whole game highlights, or I will catch the full game by other means, if that's the case. But yeah, I can't. 1 a.m. If you're going to do it, if you guys are in the chat that want to go ahead and see it, please let Vari know, and or Mark know. One of the guys that's out there, Vari, looks like he's willing to do it, but you guys got to give him, ahead of time. Let him know that it's worth his time to go ahead and stay up.
I don't think Vari thinks that way. He just does it.
He just said he didn't want to go ahead and just show it, and then two people show up.
He's not. He's just acting tough. That's not true.
Okay. All right. Well, you heard it, Vari.
He's going to start it anyways, one way or the other.
Well, it's 1 a.m. Australian time. I don't know what that equates to yet for the U.S.
Mark will confirm what I just said, by the way.
Yes, I'm sure he will. That he will. Australia to there you go. Let's go ahead and time convert. Let's just say Australia to let's call it Florida. Let's call it Florida right there. See what that Eastern time, convert time. 13 and a half hours difference. So if it's 1 a.m. there, it's going to be sometime in the afternoon.
So it's almost it's a 3:45 right now in Australia.
Right now, according to 13
and
a half. Yeah, Adelaide. I use Adelaide for South Australia as the test. So it says it's 13 and a half hours ahead of Florida at this point in time. So yeah. But yeah, if you guys want to do it, I'll put out the listing in the correct times, and I'll put it out in a note. And if you guys want to go ahead and catch it, it'll be there for you. It sounds like from the man himself, Vari, aka Sports Baby, right there for you guys on the playback channel at Lakers Fast Break. So interesting, and truly appreciate as well. Going, or are you going to put it on Joe's? Are you going to put it on Joe's, or are you going to put it on Lakers Fast Break, Vari? Let us know. I don't care whichever one you want to do, my friend. It's up to you. But before we head on out, I wanted to go ahead and mention something a little bit interesting today. Sham Charania posted this breaking news, Joe, that the Milwaukee Bucks have signed, I think, filled their last roster spot. And it was a sign that it looks like Giannis, at least for this season, is not going anywhere. And that's because his brother, Thanasis, is returning to the Bucks on a 1-year deal. It'll be around 3 p.m. America time. Okay. Probably about noon Pacific time. Sports. Thank you, Sports Baby. So with that, my friend, wanted to go ahead and play a little game with you, since you probably do not have the highest opinions of Thanasis. In fact, he is proven to be pretty much a non-entity in any year that he's played. But Milwaukee signed him anyways, again, to another contract. Your thoughts? The Lakers also have a nepotism issue, or nepo baby, in Bronny James, who you mentioned earlier, who you said if he plays a regular basis for the Lakers, that's trouble for the team. Who is the better player in your opinion? LeBron's son or Giannis's brother?
Doesn't Thanasis play like 7 minutes a game?
He has.
Same with Bronny. They're just there just to. But I never hear about Milwaukee saying, "Oh, we're going to put him in the starting lineup or the rotation." Did they waste?
You know why he's there. You know why the Lakers?
Did they waste a draft pick on Thanasis?
No. Remember, he was on the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
He had a title before Giannis did.
Mm-hmm. You know, the part that upsets me about that whole thing was they could have gotten Bronny without drafting him.
That is correct.
Why did they do that?
Wasted a draft pick on that.
You wasted a draft pick on what you could have done is you could have drafted a guy that might have helped you. so that
Porty on the Knicks was drafted.
prestige.
Well, hold on. Hoop Porty from the Knicks was drafted after Bronny, just before the end of the draft. He's a 7-footer with some intriguing potential.
I don't give a shit who or what or where. You still are in a draft where there's only 60 players on the planet that you have to pick. Those are the 60th best players in the world. There's 8 billion people in this world. There's 60 slots. You could have had Bronny for free, but you wanted the story. The story was more important than winning. Hey, Danny, how you doing? So, to me, you tell me how intelligent that is. Somebody would have to come to me. I don't care who it is. And you'll have to logically tell me why that was a good move. No one, if they're telling the truth, is going to tell you that was a smart move. I bet you not even his own dad would say that if he was telling the truth. Oh, he's got potential. Oh, he's got this. Oh, he's got that. That's not what I asked. That's not what I asked. I asked you a question. I said, why would you draft a player when you could have drafted someone else that may have helped you and added depth, when you could have had that player anyways without drafting him? I don't want to hear about, oh, he's going to improve and blah, 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 blah. Fuck all that. I don't want to hear it. You could have had Bronny James without drafting him. That's where the rub is. As far as Thanasis is concerned, isn't Thanasis 6'7"?
He is 6'7", yes.
Okay.
His career average in 6 seasons, because I don't think he played with the Lakers, with New York and Milwaukee, is a sparkling 2.4 points a game.
So it's obvious that he's there to help his brother, right?
In maybe verbal or
okay. If you had said, Joe, the Lakers are going to pick up Bronny James and have him be the 15th guy. Okay. Because he wants to play with his pops. All right. All right. Minimum. Fine. Do you see the difference? Thanasis doesn't play. Thanasis wasn't drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks. The rub on the Bronny thing is the fact that they wasted draft capital on a player they could have gotten for free. But they wanted the story. And they wanted that guaranteed slot money in the second round versus a free agent, right? Isn't that what it is? Money's different as a free agent versus getting picked in the first, getting picked in the second. You handicapped your own team for a fucking story. It doesn't matter if Bronny becomes a star at this moment. You made a stupid move that didn't make any sense. You could have gotten him for free. Instead, you cared about the story more. That's not smart decision making. I'm sorry, it's not. And I hope you all understand where I'm coming with this.
So, who is better, in your opinion?
I don't know. Both don't belong in the NBA. That's for sure.
Oh, that's funny. I knew I was going to get you with that question.
You talking about guys that are playing 7 minutes? Let's look at Thanasis's career totals.
It's not pleasant when you do, Joe.
He averages, what is it, 1 point a game?
2.4 game over 7 minutes.
Okay, 2.4
for his career.
And then Bronny averages 2.3. Now, I said something before where I would have probably been able to get 5 points at USC. I'm pretty confident that if I trained and really focused on basketball, that I think I could score 5 points in college. But I don't have Bronny James's athleticism. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass. But regardless, this guy doesn't belong there. He doesn't belong there, and you're going to find out very soon here, and that's just what it's going to be.
The funny part is, I don't know if it's based on seasons or number of games for tenure as an NBA player, but Thanasis might be a guy that earns tenure and all the privileges that a tenured player in the NBA get based off it. I think it's games, but I'm not 100% sure. As far as retirement, lifetime medical, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Remember the scandal in regards to the dental stuff that those ex-players did in regards to how they schemed the system in regards to the dental a lot of that is based off of tenured players that met the criteria to be tenured and to receive benefits for the rest of their lives. The Thanasis, again, I don't know if it's based off the season or games. I don't remember which one, but yeah, that's going to happen. Jeremy says with the Lakers, Bronny, he's on a 3-year guaranteed contract with a team option for a fourth. Jeremy, again, I said there's the slightest possibility if that Dalton, who hasn't had his next year's contract guaranteed, he could play less seasons than Bronny. There's technically a way that Bronny has. Well, right now Bronny has more guaranteed seasons than Dalton, which again is very crazy to see.
Yeah, but Dalton's making $4 million this year. Bronny's making under $2 million.
Well, the Lakers have to approve it upon Halloween, whether or not they want.
Yeah, I don't. At this point, I don't. Do you ever see Bronny hitting 30 points in a game? No. So
unless it's a garbage game and he gets all that.
Connect did it in a good game actually. The Lakers ended up winning.
He did.
As a rookie before Rob decided to throw the boomerang on him, but it's discussions that waste brain cells at this point. Either shit or get off the pot.
Well, you better tell that to Dalton.
That's the thing. That's what I'm talking to. It's like, dude, either fix your shit or go sell insurance. Like, seriously, dude. I hope it's not the trade. You don't know what's going on with these guys' lives sometimes. Who knows? Something's going on maybe in his life that's screwing him up. I don't know. But if it's still the trade rescinding, yeah, dude, you got to get your shit together, okay? Sean Elliott had that happen to him. Robert Horry had that. Those guys are 10 times better than you right now. Get over it, dude. It's the NBA. It is a business. So why don't you make the Lakers pay for even thinking of doing something like that by playing well? But not everybody. I don't know. I don't know what's messing them up.
Jeremy, he is not even close to being the Kuminga of the Lakers. Kuminga, again, that story, as I talked before with my good friend Legend, that's been all over the place in regards to him being DNPs, being a major part of the lineup, all over the place. Dalton hasn't had as many of those opportunities yet, but in Kuminga, he was a top 10 draft pick and someone that the Golden State Warriors were looking to go ahead and utilize as a foundational player going forward. Dalton was thought of at his point in time in the teens, a guy that fell down supposedly in the draft, and the Lakers at that time we all thought we got a steal. Again, we don't know what's going on, but he'll if he gets to the level where the discussions are a $20 million plus a year contract, like the discussions are right now for Golden State on whether they want to commit to that, that's a different story. But Kuminga has at least proven things in the league to where that's happened. Dalton hasn't done enough of that yet, and I'm not sure he will. At this rate, we don't know where his head is at. And if his head is in the toilet still when it comes to in a month from now in training camp, and he is not even a playable player in the rotation come the start of the season, again, the Lakers have until Halloween to decide whether or not they want to commit to him for another year.
Kuminga wants top dollar money for a game that's not top dollar.
Jeremy says it feels weird that we haven't heard any noise about the inconsistent weird vibes from Dalton. Well, you've heard him from here and you've seen him from us. Most of these Lakers shows, I'm sure, have touched on it with Dalton Connect. But no one's really delved into why or confronted Rob Pelinka or JJ Redick on that. And I'm certainly hopeful that they will come media day in less than a month from now. That's something, if I was there, I would address. I would speak to them and ask for a no BS explanation on that, even though they would probably give me Lakers or PR speak. And
what are you going to do? Ask JJ Redick that question and he whines about it?
I mean, the proof is right there in front of your face, JJ. The proof is just what have you seen over the course of recent times as far as how he has regressed since that trade?
Just the same as we've been knocking the Dodgers and their wussification apart. The Laker pillars are the same. It's not just a Laker Dodger thing either. It's just in general society. You have a soft, weak, pussy-ass society, and sports is no different. The media people, the owners, players, I don't give a damn if they're 7 feet tall, 300 pounds. Most of those guys are freaking daisies. I think the only ones that are not are usually probably MMA guys. I think they're the only ones that they have to be psychopaths, so there's no room to be a wuss. That's it. There's nothing in sports that I've seen it's been a while, other than MMA fighters, that aren't complete and utter pussies. Everywhere. Media, players, just society in general. So it doesn't matter whether you want to hear noise about Dalton Connect or whether you want to hear JJ Redick give us an idea of what's going on with the team. None of this matters. What matters is what they do on the court. And if the court don't say W more often than it says L, we're going to be right back here wondering why. And it's going to be the same answer I just gave you, because that's the end-all, be-all of everything.
805 is asking before we head on out, is Ayton basically Rudy Gobert with some more offense?
No. I think it's an insult to Gobert. Gobert is a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. I know it's, in my view, I don't look at him that way, but it's facts. The DeAndre Ayton thing is when you talk about the Kuminga situation, it's very similar to the DeAndre Ayton situation in that the Phoenix Suns knew DeAndre Ayton wasn't a max player, and it set him on a path of disgruntled player, and it never really ended. Going to Portland didn't make DeAndre Ayton any better mentally. That was the worst thing that could have happened to him, right? That was his reward for wanting top dollar. Kuminga is the same thing in that he wants as much money as he can get. The problem is his talent doesn't match the money that he wants, but timing could get him that money and the right team that would be willing to pay him. So that's it. That's the DeAndre Ayton. That's the DeAndre Ayton story. Whatever DeAndre Ayton gives the Lakers this year is going to be 10 times better than what they had last year without AD. That's why this thing makes sense. So when you look at the two sides of this, overweight, not in shape, mentally scarred, not focused, Luka was still effective because he's that talented. Jackson Hayes as your starting center. So now replace Jackson Hayes with DeAndre Ayton, even if the guy is not what you wish he would have been, still 10 times better than Jackson Hayes. Then you have Luka, who's in shape, who's focused, angry, ready to prove something, and going to be physically ready to come into the training camp and play in preseason and start the year on all cylinders. You're already so far ahead just with those two things. And now all you need is a couple guys on the team to play a little bit better.
805 says, basically, I mean a 7-footer to clog the paint. Well, if he had clogged the paint,
you can't. Clogging the paint isn't as important as you think. It's being able to box out on missed shots. It's being able to get rebounds. That's the important part. In case you forgot, this is a shooting league. There's hardly any coherent offenses now being played in the NBA. All it is dribble, 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 pass a few times, shoot the three. And where the Lakers were destroyed last year, and all you got to do is watch the Minnesota series and see that Rudy Gobert looked like Dennis Rodman because the Lakers had 0 bigs. 0. And Jackson Hayes is not a real big. Not in that form, which is why he never really played. JJ Redick, criticize him all you want in that scenario. I was not upset with him playing the starters all the second half. He had to do it, and he almost made it work. The reason why it didn't work is because LeBron came up lame again when it mattered. A lot of that could be because he was tired. A lot of it could be because he's been playing 22 years at that point. I'm not going to put it all on him in the sense of, oh, well, you know, LeBron is what he is. You have that excuse for a 22-year vet playing as many minutes as he has, screwing up at the end, getting tired. You know, fatigue makes cowards of us all, right? I mean, that's a very popular line. But that only adds to my issue with the current roster construction. If LeBron James cannot be LeBron James, you cannot pay him $52 million a year. Pay him 20. But no, they had to do a 1+1 last year. So here we are.
Yes, Gary Payton II is waiting for a deal along with Al Horford. I was going to say Tito Horford. Al Horford, and then also as well, of course, DeAndre Melton. Those guys, De'Anthony Melton, Gary Payton II, and also as well Al Horford. They're all waiting on signing with the Golden State Warriors pending the Kuminga drama when it finally plays itself out. So we'll see what happens there. But it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Truly great to have everyone here watching. Of course, we'll be back coming up later this week. I do have planned some stuff behind the scenes that I'm going to be dropping first in hopefully next couple of weeks. I'll start dropping it hopefully for our members first before they go out to the entire world after that. But Tuesday, I believe I have an interview coming up. Looking forward to that with someone who writes on the Lakers. And hopefully we'll get him on the show. Antoine Willis, he is going to be on the show here on Tuesday talking about the Lakers. He is an NBA staff writer with FanSided who writes about the Lakers and also the Atlanta Hawks. So he'll be talking NBA basketball on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, I believe is what we have it scheduled for. So looking forward to that. But Joe, I know you've got some good stuff, including your last episode of the Joe Soro experiment, which JSJ, I guess, was kidding you and saying you were owned. But what can they look out for the Joe Soro experiment?
Well, it's going to coincide with the ability to broadcast from a area where that's the production value is going to be backed up. We're talking about, you guys saw the pictures of the studio I was in, and I got to make sure that Talk Studio can handle the bandwidth of what we're going to do. And if it does work, or when we figure out a way to make it work, which it will, you'll start seeing more broadcasting from this studio, because we're going to make this thing. And there's a big chance that because of certain copyright issues, there's some discussion in the background, making sure that we don't get screwed later, is because there's a lot of experiment shows. We don't know if this thing gets big enough to where some asshole who took the experiment first might complain about, hey, you're copying me. There's going to be a lot of stuff like that that I'm going to have to go look into. So the rebranding of the experiment may happen to where there'll be a show that will be for sure copyright proof because it'll be only us. So just little things like that we're building off right now with the future of our shows. I've been talking about the production value of the show going up. This is now starting the beginning of that. And then we're going to be able to do some things on LFB that work with it as well.
Well, let's hope for that, and we'll see what happens there. And looking forward to when that day happens. But once again, you keep in touch with us right here at the Lakers Fast Break, and then of course also as well the Joe Soro Experiment as well. Now, Quentin Grimes also is a restricted free agent with Philadelphia 805. All these players that you're talking about are either waiting on a restricted free agent or are a restricted free agent. Like Josh Giddey is trying to figure out what to do with Chicago. Chicago is trying to figure out how much it wants to pay him. And he is figuring out if it's worth his interest or if he just tenders the 1 year. Because the restricted free agents, you have that choice. Either take what's being offered to you or just take the 1 year, $7 to $8 million and become a free agent in full and unrestricted free agent next year. So guys like Quentin Grimes, guys like Jonathan Kuminga, guys like Josh Giddey, and I think also in Brooklyn, they have one or two there as well. Cam Thomas, it comes to mind. Those guys are restricted free agents, and the organizations there don't seem all that inspired to go ahead and give them a deal that they like. So, yeah, there you go. That's why they're at where they're at right now. So they're not free agents. They're kind of restricted free agents. And right now, virtually all the teams outside of Golden State have their almost entire rosters filled. The Lakers have 14 players signed. Most of them already have 13, 14 players signed. So they can't offer or swoop in and offer for a Josh Giddey or a Jonathan Kuminga any sizable contract. So they're pretty much stuck between a rock and a hard place, Joe. So interesting how these things are going to play itself out, especially in Golden State. I think it's a little bit detrimental to how they want to start the season when you have this Jonathan Kuminga drama hanging over their head.
Golden State has a worse process right now because Steph Curry's long in the tooth. Draymond Green is probably a year away from not being a Warrior anymore. Could get traded during the year. I'd look out for that, by the way, especially if they don't play well. The Kumingas aren't going to make a difference on this team, even if they signed him. And Jimmy Butler's Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler will eventually, in the next 6 months, a year, start being disgruntled, and some dipshit owner is going to trade for him, thinking he could change him. Golden State are in a much worse position than the Lakers right now. The Lakers have new ownership that's going to come in and wipe the floor of any owner in the NBA, and they have Luka Doncic, who's going to win MVPs very, very soon for the next 4 to 5 years. I don't know if he'll win it this year, but he's going to win them eventually.
We will see, but he does look very good, and it's very encouraging to see the kind of weekend he's had. The 3 games. He is shot very well from the free throw line. I'm very encouraged about that. Getting to the line seemingly when he wants to. Again, people were talking about maybe distributing wise. Is there still an issue there? So he gets a triple-double. He is doing what he needs to do to keep Slovenia as best as possible. But like the Lakers, there are questions surrounding the talent around him. And I think that the Lakers are a little bit more qualified or a little bit more talented than what the Slovenia team is, mind you. But yeah, I still wish I would like to see more depth on the Lakers roster heading into training camp, but that's not going to happen. So it is what it is. Again, we'll see how that plays itself out. The Lakers, as long as he's playing at an MVP level, still has a chance to do a lot of damage in the Western Conference. So what are your thoughts on the Lakers? Please let us know in the comments below if you're watching after the fact. But great to have everyone here stopping by. Xbox doing the walking. Sports Baby doing the talking. JSJ, Tufso, Jeremy, always great to have you here. JY, Always great to have you here. Drip, always great to have you here as well. Everybody that's been a part of it. Danny, welcome back. Funny, I see Cool Bro come back on a Cosmos and Danny come back to the LFP all in one day. Interesting how that works itself out. But Joe, any last thoughts before we head on out?
No.
Okay. And on that note, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We've got more good stuff on the way for you. So if you're not yet liked and subscribed to both the Joe Sorrell Experiment on the Joe Sorrell channel or the Gerald Glassford channel right here at the Lakers Fast Break, please do so as well. So you can go ahead and get the latest notifications on when this guy, Mr. Smiley Puss, right there. What are you doing? Are you praising something? I don't know.
Hands, you know.
Hands,
Talladega Nights.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. Talladega Nights is the answer to a trivia question. What Blu-ray came in with the PlayStation 3? What Blu-ray
it was Talladega Nights, huh?
Yes, it was Talladega Nights. So there you go. You've won the trivia if you've answered that question correctly. But
that was a late Will Ferrell movie and O'Reilly movie for me. I didn't connect with it until way later on that one.
I think Sacha Baron Cohen was awesome.
Oh, Sacha was great. That bar scene was just, it was like laughing for 10
I think he made
straight.
that movie for me.
Formula Air.
Yep.
When he said Formula Air, this is nonsense. What is this shake and bake? This is nonsense.
Absolutely. Indeed.
Oh, man, that's good. Now I'm starting to sweat.
Always good.
By the way, is it still 145 degrees over there?
About 100. No, about 100. I think the high got to about 105. But yeah, somebody said he's coming in to Vegas. They were telling me on Lakers Fast Break at yahoo.com. And I said, yeah, it's going to be about 100 by the time you get here later this week. So that's what it is. There you go.
Nice.
JSJ's replaying Mass Effect, though. There you go. Can't wait till the next Mass Effect comes out in 2035. I can't wait for it. So for Joe Sorrell, along with me, Gerald Glassford, but Mass Effect rules, as you know. It is Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this thing. Yes, indeed. But please go ahead and join us on the Joe Sorrell channel or check out everything that we're doing right here, as always, for you Lakers fans at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.
Xbox sucks balls.
That's not nice.
I'm just reading what I'm reading.
You
I think he meant the console, maybe not.